Choso overall is a good character, and if you already know how to play him, this guide might not be the best for you, but I'm sure you'll find some things that you didn't know before. So starting off is his Piercing Blood move. Basically, you have two variants of this. You have no orbs, and then you have an optional orb variant. So without orbs, you clap your hands together and you shoot a blood beam that does this amount of damage. When you have your orbs activated, he has a variant where if you hold it down long enough, you turn red, and any seconds after that, it doesn't do any more damage, but this wind up version does more damage and breaks block. So it does about that much damage, and it is a block breaker, and it has a longer reach. So second is his Flowing Red Scale, which he has technically 3 variants, but the second variant is not optional. So his first variant is when you have no orbs equipped. So it's basically a pickup from Ragdoll. If they are Ragdolled, you can pick them up, and it's basically Curse Strikes, but it ends with a little bit more end lag. That's how much damage it does. Second variant is when he has his orbs, and you can't actually decide whether or not it uses an orb, because no matter what, it will always kick at the end with an orb. It does slightly more damage and uses up an orb, so you just keep that in mind when you're making combos. His last variant is this, which is a aerial variant, which summons an orb. It doesn't always summon an orb. That's only if you have your orbs equipped, so I guess he does have 4 variants. This orb stays there no matter what, and it will stay in queue for all of his other orbs. Basically, if you click R again, it explodes and launches them up. You can, even after being hit, the orb stays, unlike with your Supernova, where if you're hit, it disappears. Speaking of Supernova, it has 2 variants. The first variant is a counter, which actually gives you all of your orbs. So this is how that works. So yeah, it is a counter, and then once you have your orbs, it is used to put orbs in front of you. These orbs will stay in the same direction that they are placed and will move relative to the character. Something that is seen a lot with this is a front dash. Say they're blocking right now, you want a front dash, and then you can explode it behind them. That can lead into a lot of combo routes, so that's pretty cool. And finally is Blood Edge, which I'm pretty sure only has 1 variant. Basically, it does not pick up from Ragdoll, and it is a combo extender. It can be used on an uppercut like this, or anytime somebody's in the air. However, it cannot be used on Ragdoll. As you can see, cannot be used. If your initial hit misses, so if the initial grab misses, you can still use the end to hit people. So like say I miss, I can still hit the dummy with Blood Edge. So it is a versatile move. However, I would only ever use it as a combo extender or a combo starter. And extender does not mean it picks up from Ragdoll. Now that you know his moves, I'm going to teach you how to actually play the character. So this is how you're going to want to play Choso. So you're going to start out, you're going to have absolutely nothing, no ult meter, and you won't be able to use your R special, which gives you your orbs. There's 2 specific ways that I go about getting my orbs, and this is how I do that. First is just by, going in, getting the evasive bait, and just like M1s and, kind of M1 trading just to get my orbs. Second is by if they're playing somebody like Yuji or something like that, and I know that they're going to go for like a side dash M1, right? I kind of just, like right before they side dash, you kind of have to predict it. I would like Supernova or something like that and, get the counter. Mainly, I would try and do it for M1 training just because if you're a new player trying to learn how to actually play this game, that is the best way to learn, is by focusing on, making sure that you get all of your abilities as a reward for playing well. That's kind of how I did it. So once you have enough ult meter, which you need 11%, which is about right here on the ult meter, press R and you get your things. So now that you have your R, we're in what's called a neutral, where none of us are close, and the only way to get into a combo is either by M1s or by using an ability. So this character as Choso is probably one of the weakest, strongest neutral. If that makes sense. So like some characters basically have no neutral. Like obviously they have options to, like Higuruma, where he has his mallet where you can like, dash in. Yuji has his mobility to get in, but basically what it all boils down to is M1s. People like Yuki, they have that they have their kick where they can bring you back, and stuff like that. Kuroshi, they all have semi-neutral options. Choso has about 2 neutral options where he can M1 and evasive bait to get into a combo, or he can use his Supernova as a dash startup where he can use his grab and start a combo from that. So although he has a neutral and people notably recognize him for having one. It is not as good as people say it is, but it is as effective as people say it is. So I hope that makes sense. So now that you understand how to play the neutral, I'm going to teach you the combos. So after you have baited out their evasive, by using your blood edge and all of that, this is the combo that I use when I have orbs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, pick up. And this is actually super easy to hit, and it does about half their HP. Also, by the end of your combo, you have a supernova again, so you can actually use that to go into the next neutral. So I'm going to break down that combo for you just to make it more simpler. Okay, I'm here editing, and this is me breaking it down. So first, what you want to do is, get your M1s. You want to uppercut, and then as they're in the air, you want to hit your blood edge when they're about at their peak. That's when I hit it. That'll grab them out of their, ragdoll state. And then right here, it'll push them over to the side. So once they hit the ground right here, you want to look over to the side and hit your dash button as well as D. So that'll bring you here. You can wait a second for them to actually fall on the ground before you click your 2. For me, I just know by muscle memory that they're going to land right about to the right of me. So then you press 2. And then I look to the side here. Some people like to spin around. I typically just look over to the side right before it ends. So that'll kick them away. Right after you see these red particles, you want to look to the side and side dash again. Once you're about right here, because Supernova has some distance and this move leaves some distance ahead of you, you can stop moving. Then you click your Supernova, and depending on where it spawns, that's when you'll click R. So for me, it was right away because it spawned right behind him. So I spawned it, which will launch them closer towards you. So that's good. I then turn around and I used Piercing Blood. So it's a fairly simple combo, and it did literally over half of his health. So yeah. So that is the full combo, broken down and analyzed. So the combo uses 2 of your blood orbs, 1 from the flowing red scale variant and 1 from the supernova. I'd say that is a pretty good beginner combo, and it can actually be used completely without orbs. So I'm going to show you how to do that for this variant of the combo. So here it is. Very similar. The only thing that's different is that you don't have that orb on the flowing red scale and you don't have the orb on the supernova. It does less damage. However, this can also be used to gain your orbs. When you're playing Choso, most of the time you're gonna have your orbs. And the fact is, as long as you're hitting consistent combos, you should never run out of orbs. The only thing that you have to worry about is if you're playing to use your ult, maybe don't use your R special when it's available, because your R special does not use up any meter in your ult. In this video, I'm not going to cover the ult because this is more of a ranked tutorial for Choso, and ults aren't allowed in ranked. This last combo is extremely inconsistent. However, if you get it down, it can, be used for a good amount of damage. And this is how you do the last combo. So yeah, it does pretty much the same amount of HP. However, it is a little bit more inconsistent, and I wouldn't actually use it that much. It's kind of more of a flashy combo to show off to your opponent. So you can always play around with these combos. You don't have to use them verbatim, but that is the combos that I like to use. I actually don't use any other combos because those two, with their different variants, is pretty much the best things that you can use as Choso. And because it does half their health, literally doing that combo twice, maybe 3 times because of health regen is all you need to win a fight. Very easy, very simple. And of course, you don't have to only use those combos. As Choso, you have a bunch of, routes that you can do where it's not a combo, but it is possible. So like say, they're getting up off their ragdoll and you just want to do this and then, use your explosion and pick up. Play around with it, but those combos are ones that you should use if you're a beginner Choso player, just to learn how to use his moves. That is the entirety of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, okay, bye.